Hey guys, we got a guest star on the channel today, and he's going to help us introduce. So it's welcome to the secret
Welcome into Secret History
living.
and living in the aquarium.
There you go. Now we can go look at the aquarium. Do you want to look at the aquariums? My wife's laying down in there, so we'll have to.
Apparently, this underwear is okay. Wear anywhere. Anytime it's
Well, I'm filming the above. Yeah, I'm live. All right, which fish is your favorite, sir?
My fish is the black one.
The black one?
Yeah.
There's two black ones. Do you like one more than the other?
Oh yeah. Wait. What is a blue monster?
You saw that quickly? Yeah. It's not a monster, it's a shrimp.
Oh yeah, what's the other? Oh, they don't find that shrimp.
How many more shrimp do you find?
What does the little things is?
The little dots. It's this is duckweed. It's a plant up here. See?
No, not that.
Oh, these. Those are snails.
Oh.
Yeah. Those are called Malaysian trumpet snails. Why is the waterfall? That's a filter that needs to be cleaned, but usually the waterfall so that it can clean the water. You found more shrimp?
Yeah.
There's another one right there.
Let's see it.
You want to look at the fish room? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You want to see that? Okay. Here. Can you guess which room it is? Do you know? No, that's bathroom. Keep going. It's not the skeleton. Which way do you think it is? This way. Okay. All right. Okay, let's turn the lights on, okay? What is your favorite fish in the world?
My favorite fish is
Which ones are your favorite? Uh-huh.
Oh, I need to be careful.
Point to the one that you like the most out of here. You like that one?
Yeah, the big. Why is he scared? Why some fish are scared?
Some fish are scared just because. See, that is filter floss, so it gets all dirty with bacteria, and then the good bacteria cleans everything. Okay. We can turn the light on up here, too.
Oh, yeah. I'll probably make all the lights on.
Your dad has a tank, too, right? He has a turtle. Those are the big fish. Can you see the ones that look like a leopard?
The little one?
See the little one? See how he has dots like a leopard?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these ones are cool.
You want to see the light on them? Yeah. Okay, hold on.
I actually see a whole there.
You see a whole bunch of them, and the leopard fish are swimming around too, huh? They're called Synodontis catfish. Yeah, that is true. Some are scared when the lights come on because they think it's nighttime, and then we make it daytime and it surprises them, huh? So there goes that. Here's this tank on.
Yeah.
See all the snails?
Yeah.
They think it's nighttime, so they're feeding.
Oh.
See all the little, these are guppies. See them?
Yeah.
The little yellowfish.
Oh yeah.
And then look, more shrimp. More little monsters, like you said.
Oh, why this time? Why this time is orange?
They're orange? It's because they're different species. So they're different.
I see a red one and the orange one.
Yeah, you see a red one too?
Yeah.
Those are called cherry shrimp. That's a baby in there.
Oh.
And then
Oh, I can't see it.
you can't.
Some shrimp will bite too.
Some shrimp, crayfish bite, but shrimp don't usually bite.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can So the baby ones, why two?
The baby ones they're actually full grown. They're just small species.
Watch one watch one I scared us there. Why is gonna why some of them why some snails are not? Oh wait, why does it want a hole like this?
You like the one that's red?
No, the hole with a hole right there.
Oh, the little hut?
Yeah.
It's for when the fish have babies. That's a bucket of old water, so whenever I change the water, that's where the old, you can't see them, it's too dark. But look, here's more shrimps. They're little clear shrimp.
Why does something floating on the oh sorry, just touch it.
It's okay. It's okay. You want to see this one too? This is the one where all the shrimp died. Remember, all the shrimps and snails died, I told you? Mm-hmm. But we put guppies in here. And we also put...
Why some of them fall down?
Because, see, they get scared of the light and they let go of the glass. You want to see really bright fish?
Why he's just staying up there?
Some are braver than others, huh? Look at the red ones on the end. Over here. Yeah, see, they eat that algae all day. Yeah. Do you see there's a red one? That's the male. The big red one back here, and then there's a big blue angelfish up here who
I can't see the big red one.
The big red one's back there behind that rock. See him coming out? And that's his wife, his girlfriend.
Oh, the red one?
The little one, yeah. And then they made, see these little baby fish? Mm-hmm. They made those little baby fish.
I can see the big part?
Yeah.
Oh my god, why are there so many little fish?
So many little fish? I like little fish. Do you like little fish or no?
Yeah, I like little fish. What's that?
That is a little screen. It's a suction cup so that we could grow moss in there. Because we grow, see all the plants? So you can grow the moss on the side. And see how the snails are...
I need to go to the bathroom.
You need to go to the bathroom? Is it because of the sound?
Yeah, I can go to the bathroom.
Go. Yeah, you should go. Go ahead. And then go out to your dad, okay? All right, guys. So I had a excellent guest just now. And so hello guys, let me this thing always gets fogged. So yeah, I just thought it would be, he wanted to be on YouTube. It's a big goal. But no, he showed up outside, and so he and his dad were out there and we were chatting, and he decided to come in. But that's the neighbor kid, and you know, always, you know, it takes a village, so we always try to take care of him and stuff for whatever, you know, if his parents are busy. But he is like me as a kid, question wise. He just asks why, and oftentimes we get to questions that I'm like, I have no idea why, but that's a good question. But I don't know the answer as to why. So that's why I think it's great to have kids around. Is because they're going to ask you why, until you don't know why, until you don't know why anything happens anymore. And so that's why it's awesome when you can like borrow a kid from my friend. This is my buddy Sushi. I don't know if he even wants to be on film. I should have asked. And then my wife is on the couch. But today, or yesterday actually, Sushi and I went on a hike down through this special secret spot that he knows because he grew up right in this area. And we went to a special spot where there was old growth trees that were 15 to 20 feet across, some of them. I didn't know those existed in Seattle beyond like one or two just lone trees on private property. But there was actually a ravine that we had to hike 420 feet down in a quarter mile down this zigzag path if you go from the very top to the very bottom. And then we walked down the creek, and I have footage of it all, obviously, but it's it's a salmon spawning creek, and it's really hard to get to the upper part of. You have to go through the water, and we took the temperature yesterday of the water, and it was 54 degrees Fahrenheit, or what is that, like 6 Celsius or something? So very, very cold. But in any case, how's everybody doing? I see lots of good folks in here, all my friends. I just have to show you this. What are you doing out here? You have no shoes on. You're gonna kill your feet. He's jumping on the rocks. I'd bust my ankle the second I did that. Yeah. So what's up, Debbie? How are you doing, my friend? Michelle, hello. Jasper, George, John, Sky Dancer, Michelle, we said hello. D, Michael, what's going on? Damien Bloodstone, good to see you, man. It's been a little while. Lady Rorschach, what's going on? Fanatic Cows, 186 Element, what's up? Rachel Beard, I hope the beard is going well. Blue Reed, I like that. It's like Lou Reed, but more jazzy, more bluesy. Mark Sterlson, what's going on? 12 Celsius? Wait, 54 is 12? Oh, I'm way off, yeah. My bad. Mark, listen to Mark. 54 Fahrenheit in the water was 12 Celsius. I thought it was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 or something. Osio Llewellyn, how are you doing? Glad to see you. Jericho Cager, what's up, man? I don't recognize the name, but I'm so glad you're here. I love it when new folks roll on through. I don't know, maybe you could have been watching for years and you're just not a chatter, so I shouldn't assume that. But Randy, what's going on? Good to see you. Buttface, always good to see you. I love that screen name. In that I can just say it and confidently assert myself. Just Buttface, how are you today, Mr. Buttface? First Class Fish, what's up? Uh-oh, we're teaching the kids bad things. Let's see here. Fish and Floral, hello. Who else we got in here? Mystery Snail Guardians. We've got Jimmy P. What's up, Jimmy P? Good to see you, man. Nuclear Sloth, what's up? Do you guys think the Fluval CO2 kits are fine for a 20 long, or should you go full? I would not get the CO2 kits, honestly, unless you're doing a nano tank on a desk. It's just too expensive. That's honestly my take. I gave it a second chance, and it's more functional than it used to be, but it's still not very functional in that you have to be so careful with adjusting the little throttle or the needle valve adjustment. In fact, it might not even be a needle valve. I think it's just a normal like a screw valve, and so I think it doesn't give very good accuracy. But they're like $15, and you could blow through it in 3 days, or you could blow through it in a month. A month is like the best case scenario. Either way, I would invest in getting yourself good CO2 or a paintball tank for the CO2 and get the adapter, and you can save yourself a whole lot of money. I think I've got some links, maybe even in the description, to the CO2 gear I like. Make sure you get the high pressure tubing though, because if you don't, that pressure can build up and just pop, and it's louder than a firecracker. Pretty startling. But yeah, so there's all that. Craig, what's going on? Good to see you. Tell that kid to put some clothes on. No, this kid is a kid after my own heart. You gotta, it's too hot. When it's like approaching 90 in the forecast, your clothes are optional. Definitely. Zach, what's up? Good to see you. And CO924, what's up? Jeff Schwartz. Do we have everyone now? I think we may. Oh, Gardaki's Playground, RB. Holy cow. He is he's just jumping up and down on the gravel. Crazy. Crazy. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye, neighbor. Okay, so he comes up, or he calls from his side of the fence, and he always goes, "Neighbor, hey neighbor, what are you doing, neighbor?" And his dad is like, "Don't bug him. He's got company, or he's doing a stream or whatever." And then he goes, "Oh, neighbor, is it true that you're doing a stream and I shouldn't bug you?" He's so cute. The little 5-year-old, just ADD beyond belief. I mean, he's 5, so you could call it ADD, or you could call it being 5. Just Hawkin, what's up? I'm gonna take a step outside where it's cooler because the house is feeling stuffy. The house is like, oh, probably about 90, something like that. It isn't quite that hot outside today, but the house itself gets really hot with the black flat roof. Whoever designed that was an idiot. Also, I wanted to the Yeti, what's up? Fish and Flora, I saw you. Okay, who else? Did I miss anybody else? I just want to make sure that I'm giving everyone their Misfits, Reptiles, and Aquatics. Always good to see you as well. Linda Worth, good to see you as well. Stephanie D. Benjamin, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, which is basically like a $9 super chat, because he hit me up through PayPal and just gave me that, and then they don't take the 30%, well, plus 10%. I think 40% right off the top. Surf City Cichlids, Surf City, USA. Fish and Shrimp by Rich. What is up, Rich? I'm glad that you are rich with fish and shrimp. Let's see. Screaming Fly Productions, Evan Llewellyn, what's going on? Evan, are you the Evan Llewellyn from Washington State that I actually know, or are you a different Evan? Just curious. All right, guys. So now I'm back to the bottom of the chat, and Currendillion Works. What's up, man? Good to see you. What's up with Debbie? Is something going on? Michelle Day, how hot is it here? It's 101 in Oregon, and I'm sweating. Yeah. So we've got that little AC unit because of Alexander Engelhart last year was like, go buy it, and like dropped me whatever it was, $300 super chat, which was crazy. And that's what I did. I went and got and bought it. And I put it in the like bedroom so we could have a spot to cool off. And because my wife would have been enraged if I had bought one and put it in the fish room. But this year I need to get another one to put in the fish room if it's going to be as hot as it keeps getting year after year. When I was a kid, it would get to like 100, like 1 or 2 days in August, late August, and that was it. Now, it's just, you never know. You never know how hot it's going to get in Washington. Last year it was like 115. It killed all my rice fish. It was just such a depressing thing. And so now I guess we all have to have AC, but there's this crazy backlog for ACs. I think they said that they'll have them ready by October, so that's not a lot of help. The sound is coming in a little different. Okay, let's see. Let me try something. Yeah, the Puget Sound's about to get hot, like First Class Fish said. It's gonna get way hotter here. It's been like 85 or so last couple days, like 80 to 85. But then it's gonna jump up to like 95. But the problem is, like I said, no one has AC, so everyone's like, "Oh, that's not that much heat." But when the humidity is like 60%, which isn't as crazy as like 90%, I know it gets like that down in the South. But most people have air conditioning, whereas no one hardly does up here. They more and more do now that this is becoming common. Sound is a bit special. Thanks for letting me know, guys. By the way, Regina Phalanges dropped a crazy kind super chat. Let's see here. Let's try. Is this any better, guys? Is that better audio, or is it terrible? Am I deafening everyone, or can you not hear me? Just let me know what's happening. GRB, what's up, man? So good to see you. It is very good to see you. Hey Alex, I live in Central Florida, so my aquarium naturally stays between 50 in the winter and 70 in the summer. Would roseline barbs, gouramis, and pandagara survive in my aquarium? Probably not. The pandagara would, depending on the gourami, it might, like some of the, like definitely the paradise gouramis, or maybe the, actually the thick-lipped gourami or the sunset gouramis, they would. Um, but the other ones probably, like, maybe, well, the three spot might also, but that's a bigger one. But the powder blue dwarf, the red, the crimson ones that get sold. I mean, there's a lot of gourami species: sparkling gourami, croaking gourami, chocolate gourami. None of those would be okay with that 50 number. They need to get above around 65, 64 for most tropical fish, like, to be okay. But pandagaras are often found in hill streams, and they can be found in water that gets down to like 55, 60 degrees. And they will slow down in that temperature. The main thing is what you need to add heat, or you need to add CO2 if you have heat, because they have a hard time getting oxygen. Let's see here. Do, 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 do. Tin canny at times. All right, let me try one more thing. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 boo. Hey, 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 we're the monkeys. People say we monkey around. I'm too busy singing, sound checking everything in town. All right, see if that's any better. Is that any better? Was that worse? Is it better? I feel you, Alex. Lady Rorschach says. Southwest part of Washington State, no bueno either. It's just too hot. I do not tolerate heat well. Looking forward to hopefully cooler weather. Yeah, I feel you. At least a lot of you guys have AC. Man, we just don't have AC. It's like crazy. We're like one of the only parts of the country that, I mean, Hawaii, a lot of times I've noticed the locals won't have AC. And if you're my crazy family in like Texas and Louisiana, they don't have AC, but they're like, some of them also don't have indoor plumbing. They still have pit toilets. So there's that. Ryan Stone on Gaming, what's up, man? Uh, and who else do we have in here? So I wanted to share with you guys a couple new things that I'm excited about, and that I kind of have a question that I need to ask you guys before I answer more of y'all questions. So, as you know, I've been doing a lot of fish collecting, hiking, like pretty much every day for my own rehab. Like, I was doing the rehab that they suggest, and they wanted $60 a session, and literally I had 4 different rehab people in the 7 sessions I went to total, and they were all pretty much useless. Like, one was like, what do you think you should be doing? The other one was like, don't bend over and touch your toes, you could hurt yourself. And I'm like, this was like 3 months after surgery, 4 months after surgery. I'm like, I'm way beyond that. I'm gonna like die if I can't do that. Like, I would have broken my back in half by now if that was the case. So it was just very odd. And yes, the UK, you guys have been through hell, man. Seriously, I've been thinking about you guys because I know what it's like when you're not used to the heat. And people think like used to, like, oh, physically, physiologically used to. No, I mean like when you have no recourse because the heat is never that hot there, and people die. It's way different than like Phoenix having, I mean, I can go to Phoenix or Florida, it can be 105, and I'm like, man, that's hot outside. But then you just hop inside a house that has AC, or you go inside a store, or in your car, or in the water. But here, it's not like that. The water is 50 degrees or 60 degrees when you get in. 60 is okay. But when it's 45 to 55 degrees, like our salt water, it's not necessarily refreshing so much as induces hypothermia while you're also dehydrated, which is quite the combo that happens a lot in the summer here to people, especially visitors. But what I was going to say is my channel, I've been doing a lot of these nature walks, and I know they're not ever going to make the channel popular. They're not going to be like the like, oh yeah, that's gonna go viral kind of content. But I did want to share that, you know, I've got this book, which I'll put the review video up because now I've read through a good chunk of it, and really enjoyed that book, which is All the Fish of Our State here in Washington. But then my wife just picked up this book, which is Pacific Northwest Foraging, 120 edible plants and berries, and it's a lot of like ground foraging stuff. So, you know, dandelions, sedge, stuff like that. And then it's got a lot of interesting trivia and great pictures in it. And I know, you know, the basics. I was in Boy Scouts, plus I've always had like a passing interest in it, but I never really took it to the next level of learning the Latin of all the plants. And now I really want to do that. I really want to take up that activity and combine, like when we're hiking down to go fishing, I want to talk about the plants on the way and how they interact with the nitrogen cycle and how they hold the silt back from the stream, and so that makes it so the salmon can be there, and how the pebbles and the speed of the water all need to like the pebbles are where they're at, and how many there are and their size is directly proportional to the flow of the water and the volume of the water. And it's just beautiful scenery too. Plus a lot of, you know, a lot of people haven't seen the Pacific Northwest. And yes, I love Crime Pays, but Botany doesn't. I randomly found his channel just by dumb luck when he had like 3,000 subscribers years ago. And that is an old Dr. Pepper. Let's try this one. It's like Russian roulette. That's another old, that's water. I need to stop doing that. I fill up cans with water after I've drank the soda. Ah, we have a winner. That was the one I was drinking. Okay, so what? I'm an animal. I know this about me. All right, let's go back outside. My wife's clearly watching TV, so I can answer your questions and stuff. But what I was saying is, I'm wondering if I need to create a separate channel, or if folks understand, like, these videos will probably come out when salmon are spawning in the fall, and these videos will probably come out when I am, you know, going for a hike and catching minnows up in the mountains, stuff like that. Is that tolerable, or should I, you know, should I have my own channel for all of this? That's what I'm kind of trying to figure out. But another thing I wanted to say was I wanted to thank Regina Phalanges, because I spent, I think it was $170 delivered. But the laptop that I had, and I also have to thank Brian Levy, because he sent me his Bitcoin mining, one of his rigs for laptops, and it didn't have a working webcam. So I got a 4K HD. It can do 2 channels, front and back filming, and then it can also, it's got a mic and a plug-in for a ring light. So yeah, I literally took that $100 super chat and some of my own extra money and immediately bought this, just like the time before when she did that. And I think her and Ginger gave me like 40 each or something, so I went and bought those books. But I just, when I use the money like for something so directly related to the channel, I like to just tell you guys, let you guys know that that's where it went. But yeah, so it's like I have literally 10 videos I could make right now of the nature walks kind of thing. And you know, I have a geology, a botany understanding, and but then a general biology, ecology foundation, because I with archaeology, you have to understand like deposition layers of pollen, or how stone is going to react for fossils, or how sediment turns into a conglomerate stone, and the laws of sedimentary disposition or horizontal. What's the other law? The law of horizontal. Uh, oh well, the word means laying it down. So basically, everything gets laid down evenly flat, horizontal, and then after the fact, the Earth can tilt or things can slide. But you're always looking at that, and so the layer below is always going to be older, unless a human somehow carved out a layer and then shoveled back in a bunch of stuff, which I mean maybe, but doubt it. Um, all right, let's see here. Uh, Craig, thank you so much, buddy. Craig, we got a $10 super chat from Down Under. I appreciate it. Um, Cook me a goanna. I don't know what to say. I mean, I wish I could have a goanna and as a pet. Mick, what's going on? And every fish nerd's glad you came. Where everybody knows your name. Like, put up the light. Do you have a lighter anywhere? Do you have like a road flare? You want to go where everybody knows your favorite fish's Latin name. It's binomial Latin nomenclature, which seems like a redundant word because it says nomial and binomial and then nomenclature. Do 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 do. Um, let's see here. Oh yeah, your fingernail polish is the same as mine, huh? Well, I did like what do you call it? A seafoam gunmetal blue kind of thing. And then I did a gold finger over it, but it didn't really work. So I used the gold gel over that. And I don't know, it kind of is gold, but not really. But my wife was like, "Oh, that looks cool." Yesterday it did, and then within a day, like I'd already mucked it up. I am so hard on them. But now, like I'm just in a like they're in my groove. Like Stella, her and I, we got our groove back, and part of that it just involved the nail polish being a part of the process, the artistic process. Oh, the other thing I have to say is that the fishery episodes, I think they're pretty interesting ones this week. There is one that's just a general warning about the heat around the world, but even like the UK, their government has put out a website where you can go and report if you're seeing things like pike or trout or Atlantic salmon or whatever trapped in creeks or ponds and they're like breathing heavily, and they'll go there with fire trucks and they'll take their lorries and they'll open up the boot and then they'll spray down the lorry with queen juice or whatever you guys call water over there. So yeah, with their aluminum hose valves. So on the you can't have lovely nails if you do any work with your hands. I could make a joke about it, but I'm not going to. All right. So, birds. See the birds? Can you see the birds? Where'd they go? Oh, birds. Bird, bird. Everybody heard about the bird. Ba 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 ba. Mow mow mow. Mow 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 mow. Mow 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 mow. Sorry, I just really like that song, The Surfing Bird. But did I hear you call it a boot? Yeah, 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 you heard me call it a boot. Not a boot like a Canadian, but a boot. Put a bird on it. That's right. Queen juice is the new term for water, Mick. Yes. Yeah, that's from me. I thought of that. You Brits, you can have it though. So I'm looking for this plant because it's so freaking common. I know it's going to be in my yard within 15 feet of me somewhere. But I wanted to talk to you about something because well, maybe I should just save it for a short because I did make a short with it. But I'd rather share this information with you guys now while I'm excited before I realize in like tomorrow, that wasn't that exciting. It was like trivial knowledge that maybe might help out during an apocalypse or something, but it is not really like crucial information, so to speak. But I'm gonna find one of these plants. Oh, also, let's do a checkup, a check-in, a check-out, and take a look. Take a look at me now. I'm just an empty fit. Oh, wait, let's see here. The nothing you is against the odds, and it's more than I can take. Take a look at me now, and I'm just an empty face. All right, wait. You stay at the top of your accomplishment, sir. So succulents, one of my favorite native plants, and they are doing their spawning. They're doing their reproductive jig, and we've got the one that's probably going to take on the male traits. Yep. And then the one that's probably going to take on the female. I mean, they do go both ways, but these are like an older type of plant, evolutionarily speaking. And this one's already opened more, and it's going to put the pollen in the air, or I don't know, maybe there's spores. I don't remember with this one, but they just go nuts. Any random one could do it, and they just grow like super tall and super long, and then they reach out towards each other. But this one lost its structural integrity, and then they cross pollinate, and it's beautiful. Play white when white rabbit peeks, throw it in. My wife actually put together this nice little thing of different succulents we have here in Washington. And I've been working on trying to put them together with aquariums and try to figure out like a nice combo that will survive. But really, succulents, they don't love the heat. You have to keep them very wet when that's the case. Some are more deserty, but our native succulents around here, like these, the chicks and hens, the stuff that's from the Olympic Peninsula, we've got like sundews and things like that. Hold on, let me know if you guys can still hear me. And hear me and see me and touch me and feel me. So we've got another succulent that's doing the same thing here, and alone, like I guarantee it. Right down here. Where is it? There's gonna be one coming up any minute now. It's probably that one right there. Yep. And they do that, but they do it randomly. Like it's not every single year, and it's like which one's gonna do it? I don't know. Do you know? And then the apple tree is producing all sorts of apples. So this year I want to take some of the snags out, and I want to use them as a tannin source. But this is all on the way to uh, the same. We've got these little elon out here. All right, we're headed back towards the top of the yard because I mean I'm not on the Wi-Fi anymore. I'm on cell signal, so I don't know what's happening, but I can probably find what I was looking for. You can probably, I can give you just what you needed in the yard here, looking at the fact that literally I pulled every single dandelion and they're all back in 4 months. It's so infuriating. There's so many of these little false dandelions. I hate them. But you can eat them, so that's good if there's ever an apocalypse. It's basically like kale. What I'm looking for now, and I saw one, but it's not a good example, is this stuff here. What I'm looking for, you'll see it and you'll be like, oh, I know what that is. I've seen that before. I never thought twice about it. And I'm going to tell you a little story that I learned today when I was on. It's look at what's happening. Clover, which is defined bacteria and fungus are I think that's what killed the stream just now was the million, like literally I got a text with 19 photos and a video clip someone sent me. I love you all, but if I'm streaming, don't send me stuff, please, especially large files. It jams up everything. But Discordia, what's up? Survival of the Fishiest, what's up? So I was going to show you guys the fact that all those plants that were out here, those were aquatic. They went to seed, and then they now they're growing in the gravel, which is like really dry. So what I wanted to show you though is this plant. Do you guys know this plant? Have you seen this plant? Have you seen this? Have you heard this? Here's better examples. This plant right here, it's always on like trails and roads, and in the Northwest it is just simply everywhere. This is Persicaria maculosa when it's not growing in a swamp. You've seen me and probably heard me say that term a million times in my videos when I'm walking around the Northwest. But these here, right here, and these little buds before they flower, they are super edible. Right here are more of the little microgreens. And these are, anybody? Yes, plantains. Nice. Patrick got it. So they're plantains. And the plantain, originally the plantain came over with the European settlers. And those things just went buck wild crazy. And so the plantain is now all over because it's actually similar to a cereal grain. And because of that, it got in with a lot of when they'd either do corn or wheat or cereal, oats, brandy or bran or flax or anything that they're working on like that, milling flour. It could get in there easily. Plus, it would grow with that stuff easily. And then it would spread and literally could spread by air because it pollinates up in the air. It floats off. It's such a tiny pollen. But that is a plantain, and its name is what is it? Plantago majori or plant goa. It's a silly sounding name. But in any case, yes, Tony G, you got it. And they are called white man's footprint, which I think is really interesting because they specifically grow on disturbed and screwed up soil that has low nitrogen, that has been compacted and is devoid of nutrients and nitrogen. And so the Native Americans, the Coast Salish and the Lakota, they started calling them white man's footprint because they only popped up in the areas that had been settled and ruined, like Dust Bowl and things like that later on, where the European settlers were coming from. Probably by the 1700s, they were all the way out across all coasts and all the way up to southern Alaska where their range is. But they are edible, and you know, I just thought it was kind of a cool trivia that they're edible. They were growing next to the creeks all over the place up here in the city, and so I just wanted to share that. And then the fact that the little red clovers that I was pointing to, that we were able to grow underwater last summer in my tubs outside, those actually are nitrogen fixers. They have that mycorrhizal relationship, and they can put the nitrogen from the air that most plants, animals, us can't utilize as N2. We need it as something else, and they can grab it and break apart the bonds, which takes an immense amount of energy, hence why it is explosive. Yeah, they have in 100 grams of them, which is a good amount of them. I mean, it's like you know, if you condensed a handful of them picked of the little leaves, it would have more. What was it? The carotene of a bunch of carrots would you buy them at the store. So it has the carotenoid content of a whole gathering of carrots. I think it said like 1.4 pounds. I don't know why they measured those amounts, like 100 grams. They could have just been like 10 grams equals half a carrot or whatever. But this is what I was reading. So it was that 100 grams of the young leaves equal the carotenoids and carotene of an entire bunch of carrots, the large carrots. And so that's cool. That's great. But then they also in a 20-gram serving, which is totally doable, like a salad or whatnot, they have the same amount of calcium as 1 cup of milk, which was like what? And they also used to use it for fishing. So they would use the fibers, the natives, when they started finding it growing here, they were able to use the fibers from the center of the plant. And apparently there's a way you can pull them and then weave them together. And they were strong enough to catch fish up to around 5-pound fish. Which is interesting because a lot of times cedar or sinew, catgut type stuff is what they would use around here. So it's kind of interesting that that weed that's all over the U.S. that was given the joking name of white man's footprint because of how quickly it spread. And dandelion is kind of a similar thing where it's a very useful plant. But the thing is that that plant always shows up with dandelion and clover, and the clover is native. And the clover can survive in very poor soil too. And it's, again, a nitrogenator, which only the legume family and alders and a few others. But alders are yet another tree that on my hikes, we saw a whole bunch of alders. And those alders put that nitrogen back into the soil, which is super helpful. And then the rest of the plants can grow. And then the other thing is those plantains, they put their roots in, and then they start growing and getting like firm grasp into really hard packed earth. And when that hard packed earth gets dried out, it will crumble and fall apart. And one, that's not good for planting, but two, it's terrible for landslides and things, which can slide down into the creek or river, especially after you've logged all the big trees. And then the silt in the water reduces the oxygen for the salmon or any other fish for that matter. Same thing's true in the Amazon or any other river in the world. When you have a bunch of suspended silt and mud particles, it's going to make it harder to breathe for those fish that are really sensitive to needing lots of O2. Plus, you need the flow. So the fact that some trees fall, but you want them to be of a size big enough that the log is either clearing the creek and the creek flows under it, or small enough that, you know, beavers and things can move them around, mudslides shift them around, things like that. And then that allows also to create these ponds and pools, just like beavers do, which, again, I have footage that I'm waiting to show you guys of me out there lately, and I've got a couple shots of the beavers swimming across the pond, one with a little piece of wood in its mouth, kind of hard to see. But yeah, so I have all these interesting little hiking videos, and I guess I'm trying to figure out if I want to put them on this channel or if I should start another channel or if I should just mind my own damn business and burn them to another hard drive. Let's see here. 4:30 a.m. So late. I'm off. All right, you take care, Al. You have a good one. Fanatic Al. What's up, dude? So what kinds of questions, troubles, quandaries do we have tonight that I can help you out with here? Does anybody have anything else? Because, you know, I'm just talking about whatever I found interesting, and I know it's not strictly related to fish. And so I feel like I've taken the clan off course, and I need to steer the ship back into the rocks. I mean, harbor. Put them on this channel. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll do that. We'll do like, yeah, you would love a casual vlog channel. Yeah, want to stay, but I gotta get up in the morning. Alrighty. Well, you have a good one. Aquatics and vlogs daily. Harbor. Want to come to my house and set up an RO system? No, not at all. Those things are, I mean, every one is a little different, but they're all real good at pissing me off when I'm putting them together. Like, I don't know why. They're not overly complicated, but when you start like looking at how certain ones, and depending on how many like cartridges they have and what needs to go where, and if there's pressure or whatever, it's nuts. Zen Ginger, hello, my dear. How are you? And who was that above you? Oh, Fish Keeping Jamaica. What's up? Do you experience really cold weather during winter? How do you prepare your systems for the winter? Well, we keep fish indoors mostly in America in general, even in warm places. But I know like Jamaica and the Bahamas, you can keep whatever you want outside most of the year, which is so killer. Fire, Irie. So sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, no, we basically take everything in here in September or October, and then that's it. Like that's the end of the tub season, and we kind of count up however many fry we had. If we have to finish growing them, we grow them out indoors, and that's that. Unfortunately, as farther south in the U.S., they tend to keep them and outside until maybe like November. But even then, like even in Florida, there's some Januaries where you'll hit freezing marks and things like that. So they don't want to, you know, unless you're in very Southern California, most people don't want to risk it unless it's like a native fish or a temperate fish. Let's see. Yeah. Trying to get my hands on the Dark Knights. Yeah, they have them at the Aquarium Co-op right now, like in store in Edmonds. If I could put time in a bottle, I'd sell it for more than Aquafina. The Secret History Nursery said to cut roots on Creepin' Jenny before floating or submerging. They said pothos don't cut the roots. Huh, that's interesting. I mean, I don't know any different than that. I mean, I don't know any reason why that would be bad advice or good advice in particular. That's just new information to me. But I have definitely cut Creeping Jenny either with roots or without and just plopped it into water, and it's always been fine. Pothos, I've had a failure to yield or to what do you call it? A failure to thrive a few times, but it's almost always because I had almost no light outside. So if you have light and you have some nutrients in your water and there's enough fish, you have a heavy enough stock load that those fish are producing nitrates, then you can get away with a lot more freedom in any of that stuff. So that's handy. Discordia Create says, I would like an RO system to breed tetras, but I don't understand them, and most are pretty expensive. Yeah, they're fairly expensive. A lot of them are. And, you know, I would say there are certain things that they're really useful for, specifically shrimp. If you're keeping fancy, high-end Caridina shrimp, then yes, I understand that and I can support that. Even for like rams, they're really not essential. They can be helpful, and depending on how hard your water is, they may be a really good thing to do. But even just having like a charcoal filter or a sedimentary filter or some non-bacterial, just partial mechanical, gravitational or hydrologic filtration can make a big difference. I mean, just making one out of like PVC and parts that you like look online for, making a sediment filter and whatnot. A lot of that can handle some of the issues that people think they need RO tanks for. But really, if you're not doing plants with CO2 and IE estimative index dosing of fertilizers, and root tabs, water column dosing, things like that. If you're not doing that, then you probably don't need it. You could probably get away with things like rain barrel collection, or things like there are some products that actually do clump the TDS, the solids out of the water, and it falls out of solution. Now, it's not the cheapest thing, so I guess I probably shouldn't recommend that as a thing, but it's a thing that exists nonetheless. Scuba Stevo, what's going on? How are you, my brother? Let's see here. Pothos or other plants? I like pothos. So I must not be seeing all the comments again because I'm on StreamYard. And I'm on StreamYard because I thought that it would be that I would have my new camera set up, the new HD 4K, and then I've got my condenser mic and the ring light and all that. I thought I set up. Didn't arrive until just a minute before I started streaming, so I didn't set it up, obviously, and then I didn't have time to tune it or anything. But hopefully on Friday, I will have that set up. If not playing with it, I might need to just try it out and do a live stream some other random time. But Zen Ginger, Alex, do any aquatic plants re-release chemicals, hormones, or nutrients back into the substrate, like clovers and alders you mentioned do? So yes, in the sense that a lot of them actually die and then get covered and become the substrate. So in that sense, yes, all their carbon, their nitrogen, all that stuff, a lot, or not all, but a lot of it gets put back into the ecosystem. Now, if you're talking about a one-for-one exchange with like sugars or something like that, then it's more difficult to say. And we honestly don't have a whole lot of research, which is kind of a bummer. But there are these mycorrhizal relationships that happen between fungi and bacteria that grow all over the roots of plants, and they form those nodes like I've shown in videos on things like sedge or soybeans or peanuts. And in those, they're like 40 or 50% nitrogen by volume, by mass. And that puts the nitrogen back to like we're talking about. Well, there are similar mycorrhizal relationships with fungi and things with like Doug firs, and we know with some of like the beach grasses that live in sand that don't have the nutrients they need, but they have an abundance of calcium ions, things like that. We do know, or carbon, we do know that some of those things will use fungi or bacteria to exchange like a sugar or potassium or whatever it may be, calcium, and they will trade it. However, knowing which species and which one has it as a part of its roots inherently versus which doesn't is really poorly documented, and they're working on getting that information documented. They're working on studies, but it literally is every species in the world that they have to know that about, and so they pick the species that are big money crops first and not the other ones. So yeah, First Class says reasoning on cutting the creeping Jenny was that it will grow back its water roots better equipped to float or to I'm guessing like anchor plants. Right now in a pot, it's not, it's doing so-so, not sure what's wrong. You know, a lot of times, if the humidity or if the temperature is just way different, it will melt too. It's just too much stress for the plant and it melts. Like when I brought some from the outside in spring, where it was getting down to like 40 degrees Fahrenheit at night routinely, I brought it inside. It all wilted just because of that heat and humidity indoors compared to outside. Sure, it could be 100% humidity, but the temperature was so low that that wasn't that much water in the air, because the hotter the temperature, the more the air can hold in the form of gas, you know, or anything of O2, CO2, water, all that. Loner, owner of a lonely harp, blink, blink. Owner of a lonely harp, blink, blink. That's why I bought a RO system for your Neo shrimp, but I need to find a good supplier first. My last supplier had not such great results. Yeah. In Canada, I don't know anybody that I'd like right off the top of my head, and I apologize for that. But I will ask around. There used to be somebody I knew in Montreal that was a really good breeder, and I'll have to see if they're still around, and I'll let you know if they are. What's a good light for my aquarium? I'd like to grow whatever looks nice. Well, Randy, that is a very vague question. I don't mean to make fun, because I know, I get what you're asking. What is a good light for my aquarium? I'd like to grow whatever looks nice. So what looks nice, one, is subjective. That long dry video I wrote about, like how people get the same advice from the same creator and yet they end up with different outcomes. This is an example of that. So I could say get a Fluval 3.0, because I think that's probably the best thing. If you're willing to spend that money, that's the best thing you're going to get as a new to middle of the career, a hobby level, moderate hobbyist. That's probably going to be your best bet money wise. But if you can spend even more on an ADA ballast light and that doesn't break the bank and it's like whatever, then yeah, get that light. It's going to look crazy and you'll be able to grow just about anything you want, but you'll have to have, you know, some CO2 on some of that. Some of it you won't even need. So if you think that carpeting plants look beautiful and that's kind of it, like you only like the lush green golf course putting tee or green, you know, if that's the look you like, and the miniature purling and stuff like that, that is going to require more gear than just the light, but it is going to require a high light. And I mean that in a professional sense, like a light that's like 6,000 lumens or something, if you have a tank of any size. Now, if you have a small tank, you could get away doing that with a Fluval and some CO2, but other than gloss stigma, maybe star grass, maybe yeah, Glossostigma elentoides or Monte Carlo you can sometimes get away with, water sprite or something similar to that. All those you can get away with, and they work pretty well in the like low CO2 or even home done CO2, a little bit of fertilizer, and then the light. But my point is that what's high light is different to everyone, and spending $250 for a 4-foot light is like nothing to some people. Some people are buying like grow lights for you know, other things, or UV lights for their saltwater tanks, and they're spending $2, $3, $4, $10,000 to light up a whole big tank with specific stuff and spots and gels and what, you know, all sorts of things. Now, on the other hand, that's not most people, and so if I knew if you had good substrate, if you had root tabs, if you had an understanding of a balanced aquarium and you've got little shrimp to help clean and you understand how to manage algae and all that, then I would point you more towards a light that has more power. If that stuff is still newer to you, that's where I can't really say for sure what's going to work best, but I'm going to probably point you in a direction of what most advanced aquarists and botanists would say is medium light, pretty certainly. And really that Fluval 3.0, even though it's highlight for your average aquarist, it's not highlight for advanced aquarists that are trying to like flower plants underwater or carpet something in a 2 foot deep tank. And so I didn't want there to be a misunderstanding, but I have a series called Let There Be Light. It's 3 live streams, and I go over a whole bunch of models of lights and all their specs and the pros and cons, and I think that will definitely help you make a choice. But right off the top of my head, I would say if you're on a budget, get an LED light with 650 Kelvin and 2000 or more lumens, a Cree LED diode if you can get it, and you know, natural light. Get that, mount that, and one of those spotlights for every square foot or so of your tank. It'll penetrate 2.5 feet, and those are like 29 bucks a pop. You get a few of those in a row. If you got like a 3 foot long tank, there you go, 3 of them, you know, 90 bucks or whatever after tax. So that is one way you could do it. Or you could spend 250 bucks, get a big Fluval 3.0. Then you got the peace of mind of being able to set timers, ramp ups, ramp downs. You can do special effects. You can make the light warmer or cooler depending on if you're trying to flower things. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. You've got that full spectrum kind of thing, but you don't necessarily have the oomph of the UVAB and the penetration into the water that you would have with some of the higher end lights. Nino Franklin, what's going on? Can snowball shrimp be line bred to be completely white, or they always be translucent? So with Neocaridina, they will probably, as far as I've seen, they'll probably be translucent, and that's because they just simply right now they don't have that gene for it. Now the closest thing that I've seen where people are claiming they've got a true like snowman or snowbee or whatever they want to call them, that's a Neocaridina davidii or zengagensis, those are actually usually suffering from a form of muscular atrophy or muscular necrotic muscular disorders that basically mean the water's dirty and their soft tissue is getting cloudy looking, and sometimes people mistake that for being a quality snowball. But snowball Neocaridinas actually come specifically from the wild line that is not the davidii cherry shrimp. They come from the line that helps produce the bright yellow, translucently yellow and green shrimp, which is the palmata line. So they're Neocaridina palmata, not Neocaridina davidii or zengagensis. Now, if you want that solid white shrimp, you can get that in a Caridina species or in a Charax crayfish or a CPO little guy, things like that. Alex, do you know if there is enough infusoria or other food on the roots of water hyacinth to feed rice fish for a while? Oh, probably. I mean, almost without a doubt, I would assume so. I've got my little rice fish. They're growing in that green water, but I've also just had them growing in the other room without any food whatsoever, just growing from a little lamp producing light. So in the worst case scenario, if you see no algae anywhere in the tank, maybe give it a little more light or access to light, and you can probably they'll have plenty of food just from even singular cell algae. They're capable of eating. I'd love dart frogs too, guys. I'm gonna wind it up, wind it down, wind it up. Boom, 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 boom. Do you know any stem plants that will be that will do better in harder water? Yeah, so I have a whole video called plants that do well, or hard water loving plants. I would suggest you check that out. I have 1,000 videos now, and so if you check my channel, I know it doesn't always recommend a lot of my videos. They're not always the flashiest or the best thumbnail years ago. I'm getting better, but there's a lot of stuff that I researched hard and did a lot of work making that's just buried with like hardly any views. that one has a good amount of views. But I'm just saying, if you're wondering a question and you're like, I wonder if Alex could explain that, check if maybe I already did, because there are a lot of things I have, and it makes me want to go back. And when I see there's like 400 views on something that seems like I get asked about it all the time, and I tell people, go watch it, and I don't think they usually do, then it makes me think, well, maybe I should just like almost line for line redo the video. So that's been a thought. Bateson, what's going on, buddy? I've been experimenting with growing tropical cactus in fish tanks. Seems to be working after some trial and error. Right on. Prickly pear or Christmas cactus would be rad, if you can get that going, or like San Pedro torch or anything like that. That would be rad. Let's see here. Zen Ginger. It's that like the opposite of allelopathy, when a plant helps instead of hinders. Is there a word for that I missed? So actually, allelopathy is actually whether it's good or bad. It just means like it's like chemotrophy or chemopathy, and I think I guess I could be wrong here, but my understanding is that means that it's good or bad, but it's just simply that there is an interaction between the hormones, chemicals, enzymes, whatever it may be, that are being created by the plants, and that they interfere or inhibit or whatnot the other plants. Randy, I've heard always have 2 extra heaters. Is this true? I'm scared of a heater giving out because I have. No, I would say you don't always need to have extra heaters. What if I were you, especially if you live somewhere where you don't need to have a heater at all, like your room is 70 degrees, unless you're keeping discus or rams or something that's really sensitive, like stingray or something, to very warm water and needs that, don't worry about it. Just let your room be your backup. And if anything, a lot of people actually let their room be that temperature. So if your house is 68 to 72, somewhere like that, then you can sometimes get away with putting like a 50-watt heater in there. And even if it were on all the time, it's not going to overheat, because as you've probably seen in my recent videos, heaters fail more frequently by staying on and just cooking your fish or electrocuting your fish than they do by failing to turn on and being too cold. So that's what I would worry more about, honestly. All right, let's see here. Hey, the little black kitties here that I've been feeding. Hold on. Stay very, very still. We are hunting rabbits. Um, so I have tamed a feral cat, and her name is Silky. Hey, Silky. It's okay. I got food for you, sweetie. And she was so scared. She still is scared of everything. But now she's been coming in the day, and I've been giving her these little feisty, not feisty, feast, fancy feast treats, and she likes this ocean whitefish. I think that she might have gotten scared off. Hold on, let me open this with both hands. Might have gotten scared off. Sweetie? Hey, Silky, Silky, Silky. Hey, little kitty, 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 kitty. Hey, little kitty, 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 kitty. Got your food? Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you, fish food. Yeah, it's real num num. Yeah, num 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 num. So yes, we've got some fish food, or we got some food out for this cat that I've basically been trying to adopt. She's been so skittish. She is so scared. She's missing part of her ear, and she's real bold with like dogs and other cats and stuff, but she's terrified of humans. If I even lift my hand up, she gets scared. But it's been a lot of progress. I know they can do some nasty damage to you if you get too close to them, but they like if you keep your hand down like this, pet backwards, and you can pull away quickly, then it usually works out okay. But let's see here. Come here, sweetie. Yeah, it's food. Yeah, there you go. Eat. Oh, you guys saw it here first. So I got the little kitty. She needs to put on weight though. Um she's real skinny, even though I fed her like 3 of these in the last 36 hours. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get off of here soon. Let me finish getting through these questions and make sure I'm not missing anyone's dire uh, dire questions. Java ferns always die whenever I purposely try to grow it. Definitely not an easy plant. It's probably your water. You probably have not enough nutrients in the water, and it's probably breaking down. And the thing is, they always sell you Java fern. They sell it to you when it is in its immersed form, which is the hardest kind to try to figure out how to grow. If you know, I should probably make a video on, I mean, I've done a whole video and actually a few on Java fern, the types of Java fern, how to care for Java fern, but it's usually grown outside the water with the roots in the water, and same with like Bulbitis and things like that, whether it's Windlove or the rooster tail, the trident, whatever kind it is. And you need to get it acclimated to the water, and sometimes it can take a long time and it looks really sickly while that's happening. So yeah. uh Okay, Randy, right on. Yeah, if you're willing to spend some money, I'd get either a Fluval 3.0 or a Twin Star SA series if you're doing rimless stuff. That's probably what I'd recommend. But we can talk more if you have more questions. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to do CO2 and that stuff, then the 3.0 works actually pretty well, and so do the Twin Star. Don't go with the C series. It's not very strong at all. Don't I mean, you could go with the EA or the E series, but those are kind of like middle of the road. If you go with the S series, the SE, the SA Twin Stars, they're not that much more expensive than the um, Fluval 3.0, but they are quite a bit brighter, and you can't change any settings. They don't have any timers on them. That is a major drawback and something to consider with the price, but they do make your plants and everything look beautiful. They're just kind of perfect as is. Now, everyone has a different taste on lighting, whether they like it a little warmer, a little cooler, things like that. But I think they totally knock it out of the park. Them and Kessel and ADA, those 3 brands, they really set their lights to colors that look very flattering. Whereas, for instance, a Fluval Stingray is probably going to be your best bet if you're keeping bright red fish, like at Aquarium Co-op in the store. You go in and you'll see the tanks with them because they look downright pink compared to like the Fluvals, the Fluval 3.0 or the Fluval Aqua Sky or whatever they're called. They look so different. So yeah. Let's see here. Oh, also, I should have some of the uh, new codes for aquatic arts soon. They had some really neat fish recently. I wanted to buy them, I just didn't have the money. Survival of the Fishiest says, looks like you're having an allergic reaction to plants you were touching. Your eyes are getting very red. Yeah, I am feeling kind of run down too. It's been a long day, plus it's hot, and so I that's part of why I'm going to get off of here and not do like a 2-hour stream tonight. But I really do appreciate y'all being here, y'all listening, and your questions mean a lot. Zen says, just spent $140 today on water testing stuff. Since Texas isn't required to release info on secondary constituents in your water, just so I can try and keep shrimp again. Man, that's a bummer. Maybe just keep rainwater, or go get distilled water from like Walgreens and keep 5-gallon tanks or whatever. Buy 5 to 10 gallons of it for $1 a pop, and just keep them in your closet, and you'll have it good to go. Let's see here. Nuclear Sloth, thank you kindly. Jasper Borg, love you too. Wait, I love you old stuff too. Okay, sure, whatever. Thank you, Zen Ginger, for posting hard water loving plants. Let's see here. Thanks for the great stream. You are so welcome, and I always enjoy seeing you, Debbie. Thanks for coming. That goes for all of you, but there's some of you who just make my day. Nice, Zen. You got the copper test kit, the magnesium, and the calcium tester, potassium too. Very nice. I can't wait for like our little tricorders to come out where you can test for everything. The city is supposed to test for you once a year. I think that's a federal rule, but some places they'll do it like every month. They'll even do it for you. Other places it costs money. It's just different where you're at, but they have to at least provide you a test printout with all the metallic and chemical breakdowns, but it's always just a snapshot window, and sometimes they switch over water supplies and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. A little frustrating there. um, Yes, exactly. Debbie Lee says plants don't always die because of lighting. You need to have good substrate as well. Several other yeah, totally. And you can't have too high of nitrates. I mean, ideally, you want to be feeding their root column with ammonia and nitrites, and then that not being in the water. And you want the water to be nitrates in low amounts, and then highlight. And so yeah, there's so much that goes into it, but if we're just talking lights, I'm just kind of dumbing down the topic. But that's why I suggested the series where we get into it, and that's why everything gets so wordy on this channel, because there's so many oh well, that's true, but in this one case, blah blah blah. Let's see here. I was in All right. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're at the end here. Yeah, I definitely need to double check if the kitty has a chip. I don't think it does, just of how bad it looked at one point. It was like all beat up and haggard, and now it's looking silky since it's been fed, looking a little heavier, and she's got half of an ear missing. I felt around her collar the last time I petted her, and I didn't feel any incision. Um, also didn't like pinch her collar and pick her up or anything like that. So we will have to go get her scanned because it could be in the back or tail too. Um, all right. Um, because the cat's in the cradle and it's eating food, a little black cat, it's taking my loot, eating pricey food, and I don't know why, but it's getting silky and I want it to thrive. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate all you so much. Thank you, super chatters. I think we had a dollar super chat and then a $10 super chat tonight. So thank you guys so much. Members, you know who you are, and I know who you are. And I really do appreciate it. Even if you're here on a trial membership, it means a lot to me. Check it out. I'll be posting Fish Street right after I get done here. And we've got 4 new great episodes this week. They're all audio based, and all 100 and now there's 109 episodes. They're all designed to be listened to on the audio. Now I'm putting them into a podcast format, but for now you can just go to the playlist that says audio/podcast style playlist, and that will always give you the latest stuff if you're in the know, and a channel member, which is only $1.99 because that's as cheap as I can make it. So thank you, mods. I really appreciate it. Thank you, friends. I appreciate you, and I hope everybody has a killer or not, a living wonderful evening. I'm gonna let you go because it is 9 here, midnight on the East Coast, and I have to learn sign language. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll talk to you later, and there'll be some interesting videos coming out. We'll get back to fish and history soon enough. It's just summer, and I'm so happy going out and exploring, especially now that I can walk this year, and it's been like 2 years since I could like hike really. So I'm trying to get out to all the like salmon hiding places and see all the native fish, and yeah. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye. not being weird, I promise. Bye, guys.